What's up, Feasters? Welcome back to another great episode of the Anime Feast. I'm your host, Dominique, and with me today are my wonderful, wonderful friends and co-hosts. We have Tawan.
What up?
And we also
anything else right now.
Well, I think Tawan's a little bit out of it because his team won today. He's a Colts fan. They won their first game of the season so far, so he's just excited about that.
Small victories, guys. Small victories.
Golf clap.
And then we also have Matt here with us today.
Mikey.
No, Matt. Your name is not.
Oh
Mikey.
no. Oh yeah, no. Sorry, I was getting to the part where we're other part, but the little teaser.
Matt is also giddy because his Green Bay Packers won a football game. Yeah. Those of you who see the YouTube video, you just saw the craziness that Matt did. If you aren't watching on YouTube, make your way over to our YouTube channel. There are the Anime Feast on YouTube, and give that a look-see. But as Matt preluded to, screaming out, Mikey, he did it for a purpose. In today's episode, we're going to cook up something nice for you. We are discussing everyone's favorite time travel gangster, Takemichi and the Tokyo Revengers.
I thought you were going to say Mikey for a second, but I was like...
Mikey doesn't time travel. Or so we think. We don't know yet.
Well, I don't think he's my favorite time traveler, but he's
time
all right.
Traveling gangster.
Gangster,
Time
yeah.
traveling gangster.
Okay, that's pretty specific.
So I'm not sure about you guys. When I first saw this series, or at least the first couple episodes, it gave me big Erase vibes.
Yes. I don't know. Dom hasn't seen Erase, but...
Mm-hmm. But it's pretty much not the same premise, but the same idea. Like you go back in time to change the future, which has done before. But this one is just so intriguing. And
did they go back and gangbang in Erased? Because they're gangbanging out here in Tokyo Revengers. Gang.
Really? It's crazy that these kids are middle schoolers.
Yeah, this one's middle schooler. Erase is he goes back when he was 8 years old, kind of thing. It's a little different. It's a little more rapey in Erase. But that's, you just have to see it.
That's for another discussion.
Yeah. But at the same time, I just love it. I just love, I don't know, Tamaguchi, when you first introduced him, he's just a not low level, he's just, living poor life kind of thing. No, he's just poor life. He's dead-end job. He's getting fired from a video store that he can't do a job at. He's living in an apartment that he's literally run down when him and the investigator Tomo, I think it is, his crush's
Nato.
Yeah, his girlfriend's his sister. Brother.
Hinata is his girlfriend. The brother is Nato.
Yeah.
Well, they're not officially boyfriend girlfriend. He never officially asked her out.
They're definitely officially boyfriend girlfriend.
They said it all the time.
When he time traveled the whole time.
In the past, they're boyfriend and girlfriend.
I thought they broke up. She said
when they're kids, they're 100% boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh yeah, when they're kids, yes, they are.
When they grow up in the future, no, he broke up with her and
But when he meets her again, whatever. That's
sorry. Are you saying when he meets her again in the future? Because when he meets her again in the future,
yes.
He hasn't seen her since his last memory of going back in the past because he from what we saw with the beginning episodes, he was getting jumped and was having to join the Tokyo Manji gang and things like that. And he was being afraid and he was like, I need to get out of this. So he transferred schools and ran away essentially and got completely away from all of that stuff. And therefore didn't see really his friends or Hinata or any of them again until obviously he went on the news and saw that she died. And then here begins Tokyo Revenger.
Yeah.
That's.
Can I start off with saying they made Takemichi look like such a chump every time in the future. Even when
he is the chump in the future. He's dead end job. His apartment's literally about to collapse because of all the bugs.
Even when he was the leader of the first division, he still looked like a chump. Compared to everyone else.
I'll say this: if you look at him, this is the only thing I'll say from the manga. When they show what he looks like in the manga, when he is not his current self, so when he was in the space in between or whatever, he's a bit more of a hard ass. It's just like his current personality for some reason is bitch made through and through. Like past or present, he is bitch made. But when the time that he was not consciously himself, and it was like that whole time in between in the future, that version of Takamichi, when they show a video of him later, you'll see that, and he is very much like a mafia boss.
Because I have not read any of the manga since I have seen the end of the anime, but Dom, you have seen parts of your like 5 or 6 chapters in the manga after where they had left off.
Yeah.
Because so when he's conscious, I guess after he joins like Tokyo Maji, officially he becomes more stern, but that's not him. That wasn't him after he time traveled again.
It's kind of like remember how anytime he's not like whenever he's not the version of him that we are actually seeing, he's like his personality is apparently different. Because remember, like even when he went back to the past, and like the first time he went back to the past and did whatever, he went back and he returned to the future, and then the next time he went back to the past, he was like doing like for one, he was about to hook up with Emma, and like his current self would not have done something like that. That's not who he is. But then that whatever the person he is when he's not the character that we see, that personality is completely different. So that's just kind of what happens every time, which is kind of crazy because you see some of the things that he does and you're like, wow, like why did it change so much from like what you were doing right in that moment to then like when you subconsciously left your kid self went back to the future, why did your kid self not stay on this path and instead do something wild again? Like that's just the consistency there, and it's kind of like what? But
just makes so many more theories in my head now because like what he did, because I think he could have like had influence with Kisaki. I think I think he could have done much more with Kisaki, but like when Kisaki knew that he was his old self again, that's when Kisaki was like, okay, I can actually come back. But that's
well,
there's so many more questions. It's not as many questions as some other mangas and animes we watch, but this one has me going.
Well, I was gonna say that makes me think of the other anime. It was a movie. It was called Your Name, where they switched bodies. So maybe there is another person switching with him that we'll find out later. But we're not here for theories.
No, we can definitely have some theories, and we'll definitely find that out later. Yeah, Tokyo Revengers is so interesting because it's the spring 2021 anime, so it's a hot anime right now. A lot of people are talking about it, watching it, reading it. So those of you listening, we hope that you all have watched all of it too and enjoyed it as much as we did. I remember watching. I think I heard the soundtrack for it first on one of my like random anime Spotify listens, and then when I actually watched the first episode and heard the intro, I was like, oh shit, I know this song. So like I was kind of hyped for it, and I mean for a while we've seen the trailer of at least like some random boy pushed on a train track about to get crushed by a train. So now that I get to see that it was from Tokyo Revengers, it was like, okay, cool. But it was always weird for me, just from this instance, like I get that from what they say in terms of one, how did you almost getting crushed by a train send you back to the past? But even with that, coming back to the present, he was saved by Naoto after he saved Naoto in the past. However, he did that. And to me, it just still didn't make any sense in terms of like how it could have worked out. Because even if he did end up saving Naoto, and Naoto, followed him into the future, or like in the future knew where he was and was able to follow him because he became a police officer and stuff. Like, how did he? One, know exactly where Takamichi would be, and two, Takamichi got pushed on a train track in front of a train. The train was right there. How did Naoto get there in time enough to save him, regardless? So for me, I was like, it's already like bullshit.
Well, I was like,
don't spoil who pushed him, kind of thing. That's one.
But I was gonna say, like, that makes me think of another anime, Slime. Like, his subconscious got pushed to a different reality.
Oh, the reincarnated Slime.
Yeah, because he got.
But remember, he still got saved from the train. It was said, I saved you from the train.
He said he saved him from the train, but when he went past, he also told him like, oh, like on this date, like something happens to me, like make sure you come and save me. But like without him knowing he told him that before he got sent back to the past, how did Tomo know to actually catch him on the train on that day, on that specific day and everything to send him to like
that first time he did get, well, we don't know that he got saved because he just came back to the future after he had already talked to Naruto. So we never actually see him get saved from the train.
No, because Naruto told him like, "Oh, I saved you on the train." Then like, I don't know why, but you've been passed out until this moment. And then that's when Tamagishi told him like, "Well, I only back in this moment because I literally just shook your hand after dropping you off back at home, and now I'm back here."
Yeah, when Takamichi returns to the present, the first time after all that happens, and he's in the hospital or whatever, Naoto is there, and he tells him straight up, he's like, "I saved you from the train." Like, so
because
that whatever was about to
back
happen.
In the day.
I don't think he told him though. I really
because he told him like his sister dies eventually, and so you gotta make sure she doesn't. We're trying to prevent her death.
Correct.
Like he doesn't care. He doesn't care about his life. He doesn't care about his life. He wants to make sure his sister's life is saved.
Yeah, he tries to make sure that he doesn't know that things happen to Hina and him, and obviously not like when we go back, Naoto survived. He survived because he became a police officer and started investigating the Tokyo Manja gang and stuff like that. And with all of that, Hina still dies. And so what was interesting is it's constantly them trying to save Hina. No matter what, it's just constantly trying to save Hina because some way, somehow she keeps dying.
Some way she's that much important than any other girl in that series or whoever. Like whoever Kisaki doesn't want to kill kind of thing. He has to kill Hinata for some reason. I mean,
he's never doing it himself.
It's something
that Kisaki will never actually kill someone himself. He always will manipulate it enough to where someone else would do it for him. That way he never gets his hands dirty. Granted, he's the one pulling all the strings.
I was like, except for the end of season 1, but
that is true. Except for that, when he straight up shot
gun to
the dome. It was so cold. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It sucks for
Matsuno.
Yeah.
And
it was
Takamichi is
straight to the skull.
Such a crazy. And you guys said you hated that ending. That was such a great ending. Sorry, I know
because it leaves you on such a cliffhanger, and I didn't know if there was a season 2 yet, so I didn't look into it. I didn't do any research about the show. Like I was just like, really, you're gonna leave me on that?
Yeah, that's why I think that's why I agreed. Like this is a part where it seems like it would be maybe a mid-season or something like that. But that's not how you just straight up end it for a year. Like that's just not a place to end. It is a great cliffhanger, and that's why I immediately jumped into the manga. But like.
I made sure there was still more story to it after when that season ended. Like, this is how the story literally ends. I'm going to be pissed off, and I'm okay. Like, I don't know. I think, as most people know, I like stories where, like, when somebody dies, they're dead. There's, like, no return. Like, when Pell died in One Piece, he should have been dead. He should not have came back. I'm like,
agreed.
His death after that would have been much more impactful. And the same thing, I still think Pedro's still alive. I mean, but whatever.
No, that's no shot. No. Pedro's 1,000% dead.
Okay, I'm happy with that. But at the same time, like, but same like with I know like Tamagichi, he's still alive because I've seen like the numbers of the chapters that are still out for Tokyo Revengers, which I won't spoil it for anybody unless you want to do your quick Google search. But at the same time, like I looked immediately. It's like I gotta make sure there's more story to this. Like this is not how it ends because that's how it ended. One, what is such a beautiful ending, but at the same time, too, like, no, there has to be more. Like, there's no way they're going to just do Tamagichi like that and end it all.
Takamichi.
Tamaguchi.
Yeah,
it's not a Tamagotchi. You can't put him in your device.
But Kisaki, like, he's such a brilliant villain. Like, he's still so mysterious after 24 episodes. After seeing in episode like 11, like when we saw in episode 3 when he's walking towards where Mikey was, and then we don't see him until like episode 11, 12 where he becomes a 3rd Division commander, other thing, and then he does all of his stuff in between, and then last by the end of the series, like you're like, oh, and then he sees Takemichi, Takemichi.
Takemichi.
But like when he says, "Oh, like I'm so sorry I had to do this to you. Goodbye, my hero," and just like that's to me, like I don't know why the like "Goodbye, my hero" is such resonant to me.
It resonates to you because we were constantly told that Sasaki Draken in the future kept saying Kisaki was looking up to Mikey. So we were continued to be made to believe that it was Mikey that Kisaki was always fond of. And at the end of the season, Kisaki himself said my hero to Takemichi, which was kind of like, wait, why is Takemichi here? That's why I feel like it's probably so like, oh, what? Because it was like you weren't expecting Kisaki to call Takemichi his hero. Like there's no reason or rhyme to it from what we've seen so far that he would like Takemichi. So I feel like that's kind of why there was this whole like, what?
I think I can see why like Takemichi would be his hero, because Takemichi hasn't had to use all these forms of manipulation to gain this power and trust of these people. Like, because I mean I feel like it has been Kasaki's plan all along, is like, I want power. When he said that, I don't think he was being untruthful when he was, confessing to that he's really just wanted power the entire time. Yeah. But just being able, I guess, to see all that Takemichi has inspired just by like being himself.
I don't think. I mean, Osanai when they went to go talk to Osanai, like after all the gang stuff that happened, when Osanai had finally left and was like working in that shop, and Shifuyu and Takemichi went to go find him and talk to him to get the lead on Kisaki. He told us about the first time he met Kisaki. That was Kisaki's whole thing. He told even younger years ago, he was like, I want to rule Tokyo, and I'm going to do what I need help. Pretty much I need help getting there. It would be fun to do it with you, stuff like that. So like from the jump, Kisaki's wanted to rule Tokyo. Period. And I don't think he cares about somebody not having to manipulate. He don't give a shit. His whole goal is to manipulate, and he's been so successful at it that it's kind of like, I'm going to keep doing this, going to keep flaunting this, I'm going to keep, pulling all the strings, but somehow being able to like get all the powerful people, but also have them be afraid of me, except Baji, because he said Baji was the only one to ever beat him, which I think was dope. So like, Kisaki Teta is quite clearly the antagonist, and I am like, I don't understand why Takemichi has not done anything to Kisaki outside of that first punch. Yeah. For me, like, I think it's different. I don't know. I feel like I would have told Mikey the first time when Mikey straight up asked Takemichi, "What are you?" I 100% would have been like, "Look, I'm a time traveler, and I have gone back and forth a couple of times, and I know that Kisaki plans on destroying Tomon and manipulating all of this stuff, and he's doing all of these things, and in the future he's going to get everyone killed. He's going to turn this out." I would have straight up just rambled my ass out, especially with the personality that Takemichi has. Like, why are you holding all this information in? Like, what good is that doing you? Because at the end of the day, you can say this shit right now if you wanted to, and then go run out to Nato, shake his hand, and go back to the future. Like, you can just leave it at that. But he's being a coward about it, and he is a coward. I straight up, I would have instead of asking, "Hey Mikey, if I go save Baji, can you get Kisaki out of the game, please?" I would have been like, "Look, Kisaki's about to ruin everything. I come from the future. I can tell you all this shit," and it's like, I don't know, but
I don't think Takemichi knows anything. Like, and he's still trying to blend in. He's not trying to stick out of the crowd. At least, he
sticks out more than anybody else. He
became the best more than anybody else. But at the same time, like, because they focus on him more than anybody else. But like at the same time, like, Draken and Mikey are definitely more stuck out than him. But like, he just yells in the middle of battle when he's about to fall down. He doesn't really. He just says stuff he says things when nobody else is talking. That's the only reason why
he's also Mikey's best friend. Mikey immediately made him like one of his best friends shortly after meeting him. Like, Takemichi is a nobody high schooler that became close friends with the leader of a gang based off of a very short interaction. So much so that they go to see him all the time. He's always with the leaders. So much so that he even told Draken and Mikey to his face, "I want to be the head of Tomon." Like, Takamichi is a very important character, not just because they're focusing on him, and not just because he speaks and others don't. Like, he is, as they have said, he is the heart of Tomon, and he quickly became so close that he can speak to the leaders as if it was nothing. Even when he wasn't even he wasn't even part of the gang yet, and he was able to hang out with them and go to their private meetings, all this shit. And stand in the front lines.
Sorry. No, but they're saying something like, no, because Mikey took a liking to him, but like Mikey has a sixth sense that he hasn't addressed to Takamichi yet. Because like, wait, every time he says like, it's like, oh, how'd you know that Dracula was gonna die this night? Like, oh, like how are you trying to prevent all this stuff before it even happened? Like, why? But at the same time, at the end of the day, like Mikey's like, I'm still happy my best friend's still alive. I'm happy that you're alive. I'm happy that you're with me. So why does it really matter at the end of the day? But at the same time, like, I don't know why Mikey's back of his head is like, it's like there's something different about this guy, but I can't put a pinpoint on it.
But I also feel like it makes him more susceptible if he were to tell, like, getting that information out there being between anyone else other than him and Naoto, like, it makes him susceptible to being killed, or, you know, like, especially if Katsuki found out about this earlier, then he's immediately going to try and kill him. So then he can't save Hinata, but at the end of the day, his biggest thing was always saving Hinata.
Correct.
So, like, anything that would put that in jeopardy, I don't think he was just going to take the chance. So I think that's why he didn't just spill the beans immediately. Hey, I can see into the future. You know, I can go into the future.
I'm not saying even because Mikey only asked him once. Mikey asked him after he saved Draken and he was on top of and they were on the playground or whatever, and he was like, "What are you?" And then like kind of laughed it off, and they went about other things from there. I get not saying it right then. That was like the second time he went back to the past, and he went back to save Draken, and it was like a great thing to do. Cool deal. When he went to the future again, he learned about Kisaki. Like, he learned more about Kisaki the next time he went to the future and then back to the past. So at that point, when a third and a fourth situation are happening, and you know the main person behind it, and you quite clearly punched the shit out of Kisaki in front of them when he was introduced as the third division commander, and Mikey was really confused as to why you did that, and everyone was, in a private one-on-one with Mikey, which you are always able to get, or with Mikey and Draken, just straight up just tell them, because they're not going to go around telling everyone. That's not what Mikey and Draken do, especially Draken.
Yeah.
Or just tell Draken. You don't get to tell Mikey. Draken's
the best fucking person. Sorry, yeah, Draken's the best person in the series.
Draken will 100% contain this information. So at least tell Draken, hey, look, keep an eye out on this person because XYZ. Or if you don't want to do it for any of those reasons, if you don't want to say I'm from the past and this is this, at the last battle against Valhalla, when Baji died and he called Takamichi in close, he told both Takamichi and Shifuyu that Kisaki is their enemy, and they learned from Osanai that Kisaki is actually the head of Valhalla and was saging all this shit. You have all the information right there between two people that was given to you from one of Mikey's best friends who's now dead. I'm 100% Mikey. He told me this. And this is precisely why when this battle happened, Kisaki and his gang members were the only ones not on the battlefield. Everyone else is on the battlefield getting their asses handed to them. But where were Kisaki and his 50 gang members? Hiding. Because what? They're actually controlling all of it. I would have started spilling the fucking beans right then and there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You don't even have to say you're from the future. You just say, Baji told me this, Osanai told me this, and then it should make sense from there. Or at least if Mikey doesn't act on it, it should at least put something in the back of his head like, okay, really do keep an eye out. Or Draken. Draken at the very least would be the one that's like, I'm watching Kisaki from now on.
Or at least, like, I would say at least tell Draken. Like, Draken will be the one that really in Mikey. Like, Mikey's just literally there to have fun and just be like, oh, if you hurt my friend, I'm gonna hurt you, kind of thing. He's like the Luffy of the gang. Like, he doesn't know all the works underneath what's actually happening around him. Like, all he has to do is be the big bad guy in the beginning, at the end of it, and he's gonna be fine. But with all the other whatever strings are being pulled, like, Mikey's just the face of the whole gang.
Plus, they're constantly being pulled because Kisaki just wants to make Mikey the head of whatever he does it. Because, granted, Kisaki is going to be like the leader from the shadows still. He's going to be pulling the strings like you were saying. But Kisaki knows that Mikey is the invincible Mikey. And so he's like, if I can take over Tokyo, I'm going to need Mikey to help me take over Tokyo. Because nobody can beat Mikey. As we've seen, Mikey be out there throwing hands.
Yeah,
Mikey
like he gets hit by pipes and everything, and he can still stand on top of 10 car links high in the air and not.
And he used his superpowered kick to bash homeboy's skull in. That was some gangster shit.
So
Mikey kick, baby.
Mikey should have been dead.
And yep.
Kisaki should have been dead. Was it? Kazutoro should have been dead.
Yep.
Baji should have been dead. I mean, he is dead, but like from any of those hits with that bar to the skull to the temple like that, you ain't telling me all of them are surviving, especially after they got knocked down like a whole story and landed on the car.
Yeah. And Kazutora is like, because he was also just for a solid like 3 or 4 minutes smacking Mikey back and forth with that pipe.
Yeah.
Like everyone else kind of got hit once or twice, but Mikey was just getting bashed, like just left, right.
Everybody's just standing down there too, and like it's like, oh man, he's really getting beat the shit. He's like, go do something.
Why was no one helping? Everyone was fucking standing there like, oh no, Mikey, no, get the fuck up there and help. That's your commander.
I mean, they couldn't because they were being occupied by the rest of it.
The only person that we saw actually try to go and get stopped was Draken. But I also call bullshit on that because when Draken, after fighting 50 people and beating them, Draken then went to Hanma and one punch sent him flying across the room. So like, where is the string? Yeah, do that full power punch again.
I think this is a adrenaline thing there.
It drives me crazy. But would your adrenaline not be more high when you're trying to go save someone like your best friend's life compared to just not losing the fight? Because like when Takemichi screamed and gave them that whole like morale boost, it was like we can't lose as a gang to this other gang. When it was down to the Mikey situation, that was like my best friend is about to be murdered on top of a pile of cars in my face. That adrenaline is way more than the I can't lose this fight adrenaline.
It definitely was bullshit. They also like no one was mad at Kisaki for not helping earlier until like after Mikey got his face like bashed in 12 times. You're like, really? You think, Kisaki, yeah, he's looking out for us. Look at our 3rd Division commander.
That's what I was
looking
saying.
out for them.
God, man.
Yeah, they did make the gang members and like everyone else just stupid and fucking gullible. And I'm just like, why?
And at the very least, Takemichi could have got up there because he was just sitting at the bottom, just standing there at the bottom of the cars for the longest time, just looking. Oh no, Draken. Oh no, Mikey. Oh, where's Kisaki? I have to find Kisaki. Where's he at? Bitch, like, if you don't move,
help somebody. Help somebody. Do what you're not doing right now.
And you knew who you were supposed to be looking for. Like when you lost Draken, you came into that battle and you were like, hey, I got to keep up with Draken. What'd you do? Lose Draken.
Immediately lost Draken.
Immediately too. Like.
Yeah, I loved the Valhalla. So we were talking about that though. Which of the battles? I'm sure we're all gonna agree that we like Valhalla the most. But which of the 2 battles? Like, what were your thoughts on Mobius versus Tomon, and then Valhalla versus Tomon?
First of all, I am mad at the Mobius versus Tomon because why is Hanma able to, keep up with Mikey and then not keep up with Mikey? Like, there's no training or anything. Like, there's no reason for a strength improvement. Like, it didn't make any sense. He's like, oh, block the kick. And Mikey's struggling with this dude.
And and then when they fight in Valhalla, it's like a one-hit KO.
Yes. And it's
and Mikey was hurt in the Valhalla fight versus being fully healthy fighting him with the Mobius fight.
I think they did the fights in the correct order because the Mobius fight is exactly what he needed at the time, and then like when we learned more about Valhalla and when the Valhalla hype was coming with Hanamiya and Baji, like that intensified the drama for that fight, which was I think the better of the fights, but that's why I think the fights went 1 and 2 instead of 2 and then 1, or then the Valhalla fight, then the Mobius fight, yeah. And also, but at the same time, the Mobius fight with the Draken, because I don't know, I'm not sure who you guys' favorite characters are, but Draken's easily up in my probably top 3 characters of the series. I love Draken, and we learned that he will die during that fight beforehand. It's like, okay, how do we say Draken?
I would say my first favorite is Baji, then Draken.
I think I like Mikey. I'm Mikey, then Draken, and then the 4th Division Commander Kawata.
Yeah,
he does get much screen time, but at the same time, his red curly hair just gets me. He makes me laugh every time he's on screen.
I like him just because he's always smiling. Like, no matter what, even when he was getting his ass handed, like when he was getting jumped, he was still smiling while getting punched. He was like, "Yeah, there are a lot of y'all here."
I'll take this punch. I'll take this punch again.
Yeah, like y'all were saying earlier, when Takamichi knew that he needed to save Draken, like Draken's gonna die on this day. Cool. Stay by Draken's side. Basically hold my man's nuts. Like, don't go. You need to be that close to him for the rest of this time. Especially when you learn that not only one but 2 different people are trying to kill him. Like, you think, oh, it's just the one dude from who was the fighting ringleader. Okay, you think it's just him that's gonna go kill him. And then you learn that no, it's also not Pachan, but the other guy, his Payon. It's Payon who's like who's gonna do it, and then you're like, okay, cool. So now there are 2 different people trying to kill him. Hold this man's nuts. Like, you need to be so close to him, you are in him. Like, you cannot you cannot separate yourself in the slightest from Draken at this moment. Also, tell everyone else, hey, look, I was captured by this person. They were working with Mobius, and they were going to kill Draken. I escaped because of XYZ. We have to surround him.
I mean, at first, he didn't stay by Draken's nuts because, he thought he cleared everything. He wanted to be with Hinata. Like, it's like, I never get to do this. I haven't got to do this when I was a child. I never got to do this as an adult. And, like, we solved the problem that causes insurrection. But that wasn't the reason what the insurrection was for. The insurrection was for because of other things, because of Pachan, and, like, they wanted to still get Draken back.
But he could have told them, like, hey, I got tied up. This dude has a knife, like, and they were talking about killing you, Draken. Like, let him know that this is a possibility, because he's going into it thinking like, hey, we're just gonna throw hands like we do with every other gang, but this is actually someone within your own gang, within your own ranks. So why not tell him about it?
Yes.
At least, like, hey, this guy is staying out. You're gonna get questioned. Like, Takamichi has no reason to lie about keeping Draken safe.
When it was all 50 Mobius gang members looking at all 50 Tomon gang members, Mikey and Hanma standing in the front, Draken already beaten up because he got jumped already. At that point, you go, hey, the Division Commander 1 and Mitsuya Division Commander 2, who is over here with me, at least you 2, stay beside Draken, because this person and maybe this person are trying to murder him. One of them is part of our gang. Watch for this person. We have to stop this one. Like, just stop, or at least just stop the one, because we know that one for sure has a knife. Stop him. Look for him. Stop him. Beat his ass. That's all you got to do. Beat his ass. Or just watch him. Get the knife out.
When all the captains pulled up, though, I was clapping. I was jumping on my couch a little bit. I was like, oh.
I know, especially like when Baji had that hair tie in his mouth, and he pulled his hair back and was like,
that's why I love Baji.
If that's not the most badass thing, I don't know what is.
Man, yeah, when he pulls up and he's like, we about to fight, and start putting his hair in a ponytail, I'm about to get to work, son. That's definitely what makes Baji a top character, because you see he's ready to throw hands. Like, he doesn't care. He's like, I'm about to.
All the time.
It's about
but
to go
his
down.
Loyalty too, like even to Kazutora. Yeah, like even after he killed Mikey's brother, he's like, I'm not gonna let you go down by yourself. We're in this together. Like, I know you didn't know. I know you didn't mean to do it. Also, why?
I don't know why he didn't stop him sooner, by the way.
No, it wasn't even about he was talking, but he was just running full force. It's like, why is killing the shop owner the only thing you can do? Why is that the only thing you can do?
Part of me thinks he may have tried to knock him out and he just hit him too hard.
He had bolt cutters. That shit was.
Yeah, that kind of.
Also, if he dies from
getting hit in the
head with a metal object, why doesn't anybody else?
Because of what you just said. Everyone else got hit in the head with a blunt object, while
in front.
his brother got hit. His brothers got
like,
hit in the back of the skull with bolt cutters with the tip.
We gets part of your head.
I don't even know if it was the blunt part, because that pipe had like some triangular part to attach it to whatever. No, because the bolt cutters weren't open, so it was like pointed.
They don't have to be open.
I mean, even if they have a little gap in it, like you still like, even if you hit somebody, like if you clamp down afterwards, like it still hurt. It still rips somebody's head off.
But I get what you're saying though, because
it's a small flat angle of
right. But if you look at how they were swinging at the same time, now we're going into actual physics. If we're looking at how he was swinging, like when Hanagura was swinging at Mikey's brother, he was swinging. He like kind of like a left to right, a little bit of a slash. Think of it as like a slicing motion. But when he was hitting Mikey with the pipe, he was just smacking his face like kind of like a downward, just like a mallet, like boom on your skull.
But there were times when he hit the temple too.
Yeah, but he wasn't like
this is still more protected than back here.
Yeah, I know, but he got hit in the side of the head.
He wasn't he wasn't slashing with a sharp object. When he killed Mikey's brother, he was slashing with a sharp object into someone's skull. When he was hitting Mikey, he was just bashing them. Granted, like you said, everyone should have died from this shit. They're all 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. Your skull was 100% cracking.
Yeah, like murder's the only option I have in this situation.
I like
massive contusions, concussions. Out. Like, these people should be knocked out and not get back up, period, unless they're going to the hospital.
Also,
but yeah,
Takemichi is just stupid.
He is.
When we talked about what he did with Draken in terms of knowing that Draken is going to be attacked and be killed on this day, and you just not even staying on Draken's side, like, stupid. When it came to the Valhalla fight, he knew Baji's going to be killed, and then when Baji dies, that's going to make Mikey then kill Kazutora. Okay, cool. You know these things. Again, stay on everybody's hip. Stay right there holstered. And if you can't, then when you do see Baji and you finally get a hold of Baji, your brain, you recognize that Kazutora was the one that did it. Don't sit there and think, oh, well, this happened, so everything's going to be fine. Oh, he didn't die from this one move, so everything's okay. I don't have to worry about it anymore. No, until the day is over, if I was told that you die on October 31st, until it is November 1st, I am staying at your hip.
At least try to move the day. You're grabbing the nuts.
At least try to move the day of the fight.
If I know for a fact in the future, if I'm in the future and I get told on October 31st, Tawan died and that caused Matt to snap and Matt killed Robert. Okay, bet. And then I go back to the past and it's October 31st. I'm holding Tawan's hand. No matter where I go, I'm right there. What's up? Where we going? What's happening?
There you
go. We in a fight.
You don't get off me.
Yeah.
Two on two this whole fight. I'm fighting everybody. I'm right here to back the whole time.
But I don't know. Draken is not gonna let Takemichi just hold his hand. He's like, literally,
no,
he doesn't have to, but stay close.
Yeah, I know.
Takemichi, it's not like nobody in that group hates him. Like, everybody loves him and everything. And, like, he can tell anybody anything, and he refuses not to tell anybody anything because he's like, this might cause a butterfly effect kind of thing. Like, no, like, everybody wants to listen to you. Like, when you do talk, they actually listen and take your advice with a heart.
Oh yeah, Peitan and Pasha don't give a shit. Peitan and Pasha don't care about him at all.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of Pasha. Like, I was like, it's like he.
No, they're both fucking.
I was like, also, I hope he kills. Actually,
I would have been okay with both of them dying.
Kill Osanai. Kill him right now. Also, everyone getting stabbed and not dying except for Baji because he stabbed.
Baji, I mean, he got stabbed one time.
Right, but remember, suicide. The first thing was that he was going to die anyway from Kazutora's stab. Like, that's why he killed him. That's why he stabbed himself again. Because when Pashin stabbed Osanai, that was like the first thing that was supposed to kill him, and like that was going to be like the first crazy thing that happened. So we had to save him. That didn't happen. But Pashin still stabbed Osanai. Osanai didn't die. Like, even with that type of stab, like, I get it kind of because maybe the hospital got there in time or the ambulance got there in time. When Draken got stabbed, it was like a while before they found Draken, and then he found Draken, and it was a lot longer after that before Draken got to an ambulance, and then the ambulance too. And I mean, I get it, he died in the ambulance and like got brought back or whatever, but it's still like there was so much time, so many like mortal wounds that these people survived. Then Baji gets stabbed once, and that in the same, pretty much the same time everybody else gets stabbed in, and that motherfucker died.
Yeah, like if someone would have called the ambulance, he could have survived, but he chose to die also. Like
he wasn't gonna make it to the ambulance got there, and he knew that.
I mean,
That's why
at least
he
give
took
it
him
a
out
chance.
there.
And
But at the same time, like, how long does that? I know it's like 2004, but like, how long does an ambulance take after you call 911 for an ambulance pickup kind of thing?
Also, there was one when Baji was trying to call an ambulance for Mikey's brother, and he was like, "What's the number?"
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the number for 911?
I think it's 199 in Japan, but it's not.
You know what the number is. That's the joke though. It's like, what's the number for 911 again, guys?
At the same time, they're both in shock. I mean, he just literally murdered their best friend's brother.
Yeah,
I mean,
all of that was stupid.
Yeah.
That was really dumb for them to do in the past. But I get the storyline. Sorry, I thought about this earlier when we were talking about Kisaki and kind of all this, like the Valhalla War again. I get that Kisaki can pull a lot of strings and can know some stuff, but how, in what world did he know? I guess maybe the news, maybe not in the news, but like knowing that Kazutora was the one that killed Mikey's brother, and was able to like manipulate it enough to where when Baji joined, he was able to like tell Hanma to tell Kazutora that Baji's a traitor because that was what made Kazutora stab him. He was like, "You're trying to lead me to him, betray me too." Like, how did he know what would be the manipulation factor for Kazutora to try to kill Baji? Also, what was your first move to kill Baji? If I found out that someone's about to betray me, my first move isn't to go fucking kill them. Like, I might go fight you because he threw hands with everybody else. So why was your first move for Baji to stab him in the back? This shit don't make no sense.
Like, I think it's a part of the resentment that he's having, but he also was like going into a psychosis when that was happening, and like, hey, I have to kill Mikey. Like, that obviously doesn't make sense because he's like, Mikey wasn't even the one that took you to jail. He wasn't the one that made you hit his brother. Like, you were doing this for Mikey. So you were like, hey, Mikey did this, so I have to kill Mikey. So he didn't have like a good psychological like headspace.
I think the
so
easy
it was
answer
just because
is
he was crazy.
I think the easier answer is that Kisaki has more of a role in the story that we don't know of yet, and that we will eventually learn. But at the same time, it's just frustrating because we don't know enough about him that we're trying to still speculate of what he actually is capable of. We know he's capable of a lot of things, but we don't know why he's capable of doing these things.
Correct.
Also, it was
and
such
it's
a
frustrating.
great...
He's such a great protagonist. He's like the Blackbeard of the series right now.
I like him better than Blackbeard, honestly. He's more like Doflamingo in my mind.
Or maybe like early Crocodile.
Yeah, but it was such a great feeling seeing Katsuki like turning around after he like got crowned the third commander, and then just getting decked by Takamichi.
That was great. No, like I love Takamichi as like when Mikey first said like, oh, new third division commander, and Takamichi is like, oh, does he mean me? Should I walk up there? Kind of thing. It's like I was kind of hoping he'd walk up there and be like, okay, cool, I'm the new third commander. He's like, and then Mikey looked at him like, why are you up here?
Especially because he wasn't even a gang member at that point. Yeah, that would have been hilarious.
And they keep telling him to come to these things. It's like, hey, come to the meeting. Something.
That's what I was saying. That's how important he is to them.
But that was after the hospital visit, wasn't it? When they gave Takamichi the jacket.
Yeah, no. Takamichi became a member after
he was trying to get Katsuki after the initiation. That's when he became a member because they're saying I'm gonna put you under the second, wasn't it?
Yeah, he got put under Mitsuya, and Mitsuya was like, "What? No, I don't want this man." Which that's my whole thing as well about Takamichi is like, okay, at the end of the day, if it's not that if you're not gonna tell anybody that you're a time traveler, if you're not going to make certain moves, and your whole thing is to just be like, be in the past and make your way to being the head of Telmon and then stopping things that way, fine. You don't tell anybody your secrets. Learn how to fight. All you do every episode, you know you're in a gang. You know you're fighting.
As beat.
All you do is get worked constantly.
Every time.
Learn how to fight. And I get it made sense that, you know, when he was trying to save Draken and he was like in a 5-on-1 and he was like, he realized to himself, oh, I've been confusing myself. I've been around strong people, but I forgot that I'm not strong. Okay, I get that. You got your ass beat. So you had that
I'm
revelation.
actually happy that they did that.
Yeah. You had that revelation. You got your ass beat. Your friends came to help you. They got their ass beat, but it was in enough time for the cops to show up so that you guys could save Draken. Cool deal. Love it. After that, you now know. You just told yourself you don't know how to fight, but you also told yourself, I'm about to become the head of Tomon. Cool. Right then and there, like you said, get in the gym. Boxing lessons. Ask Draken to teach you, because Mikey can't teach you. Mikey don't know how to teach somebody. Mikey's just like, I just know how to fight. I feel like if he was like, Draken, how do I fight? Or Mitsuya, his commander, ask someone to help you. Hey, show me how to throw a punch. Do this for me, because Mikey can take a punch. Like Mikey can take some hits, but at the same time,
crowbars.
You have to learn how to throw them. Or not Mikey, sorry, Takamichi. But like you have to learn how to throw them. So it's like, ask someone, not your friends, because they don't know how to fight either. All of y'all got your ass whooped on episode 1.
All of y'all are posers.
Get to a little self-defense class.
Get a little self-defense class. Seem like such badasses at first, and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, they're like, oh, this is the dude. This is our leader. This dude like had all the information. They're like, why are you acting weird, Takamichi? And then they went and got their ass beat. And they're like, oh yeah, I did get my ass beat. And then it led to this. And then this is why I ran away. It's like it's like, wow.
So I was really happy in the Valhalla fight, when he did finally start fighting. Because he wasn't at first, he was getting his ass kicked again, and this commander saved him and was like, why are you here? You knew that we were here to fight. Why are you here if you're not here to fight? And essentially that gave Takamichi the resolve to start throwing some punches. So I was like, cool. He knocked out 2 dudes. He was fighting with Shifuyu. He got punched, ate that hit, knocked the dude out. Got hit again, ate that hit, knocked another dude out. And then we see him like later on, you know, swirling his arms and being the heart of Tomon and getting everybody up. That's like all he did. And then, you know, thank you for fighting a little bit at the end of it all. But like, please continue and like actually learn how to fight even a little bit, because if I see more of you getting your ass beat every time there's a fight with gang members, and there are like, as we saw from the Valhalla War, there are like 7 other gangs in this area, like. Please learn something.
You're now the first division captain too. Like, you gotta.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta stand for something. Like you gotta be protected. Like you gotta be one of the strongest people here.
You're not number 1 for no reason.
Yeah. So Takamichi just learn how to fight, at least a little bit. He gotta learn how to do something. If you can't use your hands, if you suck at using your hands, ask Mikey that kick. Learn how to do the Mikey kick. You can't. Yours won't be as strong, but learn how to do it.
Also, have you guys seen that TikTok video of how to do the Mikey kick?
I haven't. You gotta
find it and send it to me. Actually, I'll find it. I'll find it eventually, and I'll send it to you guys. It's pretty cool.
Also, Hinata was not okay with, you know, hanging out with Mikey and Draken at first, when they were just like, you know, picking on people. But she knows they're in a gang, knows they're bad news, and is like, yeah, this is okay. Doesn't bat an eye. They're good people. They're just his friends. Like, not worried about it at all. Draken almost died. Hey, Takamichi, you should probably stop hanging out with them. Nah. Like, she never tries to change that.
Well, they're his friends.
Yeah, even after she saved him when he was tied up, Like, she saved him. She got all the duct tape off of him. They shared their first kiss. All cute, cute, cute. Still didn't give. She was like, cool. You're still in the gang, and I guess I'll just let you be in this gang.
But she has a problem with him hanging out with delinquents, like earlier in the show.
She's evolving. She's mature.
Yeah. She's accepting of his lifestyle.
Exactly. And it's all for her. He's doing it all for her.
She doesn't know that. He just randomly shows up. Oh, I did show up here. Why did I come here?
Yeah.
You're just like you used to be.
One thing I do want to touch on as well is Naoto. It makes no sense to me, and it doesn't have to, but like why the handshakes with him is what triggers traveling in between past and future. Also, why is it that every time he goes back to the future, that is a new Naoto every single time? That is not the same Naoto. But he always knows exactly what's going on. He will always catch Takemichi up. Okay, well, what happened in this past and what happened in this future was this, but then you did this, and now this is what happened. And it's like this, and so like how do you know these things?
When he said like, "Oh, I can't believe you got to change this present now," I was like, "How do you know that he changed the present? You know exactly what I'm talking about."
Yeah, you wouldn't know. Like this, you would have no knowledge because it's a completely different you. How do you know this?
Because it's always being updated. So it's like you didn't grow up experiencing the same things, and clearly Takemichi doesn't always talk to you. And anytime he does talk, he's never updating you on anything that's going on. It's like, oh, well, I went back and this happened, and you just already know. I would say that's a plot hole.
When he went back into the past and saw Draken and got the memories back from the fight, and he's like, oh man, I really got to stop this fight from the Valhalla fight. It's like, I do that. When he went back to the future after the Valhalla fight, he's like, why didn't he get any like past recollections? Like, oh, maybe I know why like Mikey or I haven't seen Mikey or Draken. I see all my other friends, but why haven't seen these guys yet? He never got any of that unless he talked to them, but he talked to them like he talked to Draken, but he didn't get anything. I'm so confused. I mean, maybe he gets somewhat sort of amnesia. It takes a couple of days for him to be back in his own body.
I don't know. I could see him being able to like kind of maintain just because he's a part of the trigger for going into the past. So there's some kind of weird power there in the first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't make sense that he doesn't retain that information, but maybe he experiences something like not Mikey, but Takemichi, where Takemichi has lived through this stuff, but it's a different personality, and then he gets flashes of that. So maybe it's something along those lines.
Yeah, that's the one thing I feel bad for Takemichi every time he does return to the future is because he does not know anything that happened between the 12 years of that handshake. He doesn't remember a thing, and I'm always like, that's really unfortunate because I couldn't imagine like having been my younger self, knowing that I'm about to go back to the future and it could be a completely different future. And I go and then I turn now back to the future and I'm in here and I'm like, okay, where am I? And what's going on in my life? And like not having immediate memories of like, this is what happened over the last 12 years, or even this is why you're here in this present moment. This is the last day of your life. This is
like
the
last 24 hours of knowledge.
Yeah, nothing. You get absolutely nothing.
Yeah, gosh,
that's
really
always like whenever he time traveled, like whenever he went back to the past, it was never where I thought he would end up. Like when he went back to the second time when a homegirl was on top of him, it was like that was not exactly.
He was about to get freaky with Emma.
Yeah, Emma, yeah. That's her name. I know we talked about her earlier, but I was like, when I saw it first time, I was like, whoa, what are you doing there?
The last time you were in the past, you were telling Hina how much you like her. What is this? Who's this new girl?
Also, when he went to Draken's house and the courtesan was like, hey, I'm going to sleep with him. And he's like, Draken just must have given me this gift and wants me to come into my manhood. Doesn't think about Hinata at that point in time. It's just like, you're like, really? But you're going to run from Emma when she's just on top of you right then and there.
And you also all the time.
But he was being escorted at the time.
he always also acts like he loves Hina. He's always like every time he goes to the future and he sees Hina, he's like he starts bawling his eyes out and he's like how much he loves her. And then when he goes back to the past, like something bad happens to her, he goes back to the past. He sees her for the first time. He's all emotional. I have to save her. I love her. This is my woman. But then gets in these situations and and has no hesitation to be like, "Oh, what's up, girl? What's up? Let me get."
He was 100% gonna go through with it. He was 100% gonna go through with it. I'm like, wow.
Confirm your clients, kids. Actually,
also, why wasn't the first thing that they did was just get out of Tokyo? I feel like that is also what I would have told Naoto. When I told Naoto that your sister and you die in 12 years because of gangs in this, why is Naoto's thing like, I'm gonna become a cop? No, get the fuck out of Tokyo. Okay, cool, you became a cop. I get that. Your sister still died. Then the next thing you need to do is when I go back to the past again as Takemichi, like, look, you need to leave. I don't care where you go, but you got to go.
His parents like, yeah, I love your daughter and everything, but like, you guys gotta get out of here. Like, about 10 years, it's not gonna look good on anybody's hands.
Or even because like Naruto also started to understand that like, okay, Takemichi can go to the past and future, so he even knew these things. The second time around when Hina dies again, and okay, the first time Hina died and he saved her. Okay. The second time Hina died again. That third time Takemichi goes back. That second time that Takemichi goes back to the past. As Naruto, if Hina is still alive in that new timeline, your move needs to be: we know in Tokyo she is dying. We need to leave Tokyo because at this point, I get, however old he would be, 8-year-old Naruto can't tell them to move. But you have 12 years to say this. So once 9-10 years have passed, hey ma, hey dad, Tina, we're 26 years old at this point. Let us go. We have to leave. We can't be in Tokyo anymore. Or let's take a lovely vacation for a couple years. Let's go move abroad and come back. You gotta go. You gotta get the fuck out of Tokyo.
Well, also, why do they keep killing her? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's still a mystery.
Okay. There's a reason. Okay. You learn fairly quickly that there is a reason. Okay. So yeah, just read like the next like 6 to 10 chapters in the manga, and you kind of understand that she is actually being targeted.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been targeted the entire time, but like.
Right. Well, it kind of seemed random at first because it was like, oh, this girl that I used to date was killed. And then the second time when Akun killed her, the second time it was like, okay, she is being kind of targeted because Hanma was like, oh, you aren't in the car. So it kind of made it seem it kind of made it seem like, oh, they were going after Takemichi's again, like they were going after Takemichi, but they messed up and only Hina was in the car. But you learned that like, no, she is a target.
Well, yeah, they are going after Takemichi as well, but it's seeming like it seems random now because
seems like Takemichi's like a worm in their.
Well, no, because I'm thinking like I feel like they're trying to get rid of anyone that had a connection to Mikey in the past. That's what it's seeming like right now. That's just theory. But the first time before Takemichi ever met Mikey, like why did they try and kill Takemichi at that point?
They didn't, if I'm not mistaken. Like that very first death. Sorry, they did. You're right. Because Akun was like, I'm the one that pushed you on the train track because Kisaki told me to. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, again, just read the next 10 chapters.
Yeah.
You'll quickly find out.
Also, they need to get over each other. Like it's been 12 years. Why are y'all not trying to date other people at this point?
Because they broke up for a while.
It's meant to be.
Before
fun.
That, he just left. Didn't tell anybody. Like left. Like, and she was still not over him, and he still was not over her.
That's how middle school love works. Twan, you ain't know. The person that loved you at 12 still loves you.
Like not to put it the perfect way, it's like
probably
you guys have been dying to see each other for like these past 12 years, and yet you guys are now together, and you guys will not speak a word to each other. It's like, I mean, what do you say to a person that you want to say something to?
How's life?
Yeah, I mean, for Takemichi,
I'm glad you're alive.
I get it for Takemichi because it is that. It is like the last time I saw you, you died, or like you're not supposed to be alive. Like my whole drive is to save you. I'm so happy to see you, but I don't know what to say to you. Hina, on the other hand, you have no idea what's happened over the last 12 years. So like, why don't you just say some words?
Well,
Thanks for the necklace.
I think
Because
I
ladies
think-
never make the first shot.
well, I think it's also
I've kept this for
because
all this
he,
time.
like, just got told that, hey, I'm not the right, or like he broke up with her, and
Years ago.
like but all of a sudden
That
just
wasn't
comes to your house.
him though either.
Yeah.
And also, but when they ran into each other, it wasn't even that like that. That he came to. It wasn't even that they were in her house. Like they were in the building, and he was leaving the building and ran into each other at the door. So it's kind of like he could have been there for anyone else. It just happened to be her door.
But Naruto was there, like, so they came to see.
But she didn't
They
know
came
that
to
at that. She didn't know that to me because Naruto was still upstairs because he was like, she'll be here. He was waiting upstairs for Hina because they thought Hina was home. Takemichi was leaving. He was downstairs on the first floor by himself. So at that point, when they ran into each other, they should have had more words than just like, "Oh, hi,
Come here often.
this is oh, what are you?" And then as she said, "Takemichi, you always show up at the weirdest times." Okay, cool. I love that that's your saying. Say more. What else you got here?
Give me some more bread for my butter, or whatever the phrase is.
But hey, our crybaby hero,
Butter for your bread.
Man, that opening song, Crybaby, is such a great song. I hope they don't change it like the Hunter x Hunter thing, but we'll see.
They probably will.
Hunter x Hunter was great for keeping the same song.
Okay. Do you guys want to end on like your favorite part of the series? Like, what was your favorite moment?
Yeah, my favorite moment was definitely like Baji coming in, tying his hair up. Like, it was just a badass moment.
Which time? Against
Anytime.
Mobius or against Valhalla? Like the final goal for Baji.
I think it was more, it had a bigger resonance when it was against Mobius because they were coming in to like save the day. They're like, yeah, you forgot about these commanders here.
Yeah, I think anytime I see the commanders all show up, like anytime something's about to go down and then the commanders all show up, I love those scenes just because they are and it's crazy because you forget that they are 14 and 15 years old because they have so much swag with them and so much just like, I'm here to fuck shit up. They like, when they walk in, you're like, oh, these men are about to get it. And then you're like, wait, no. They just became teenagers.
Yeah.
Also, how are riding like full-size motorcycles?
Yes.
Yep. That's what badass teenagers do, Twan. We're not badass teenager.
Also, I don't feel like my feet would have been able to touch the gears and pedals.
Well, don't forget, Draken's like 85 feet tall, so...
Draken is the only one. Mikey could ride a bike by himself.
Mikey should have rode that moped everywhere and anywhere.
Also, Mikey looks so much taller at the end of the fight with Valhalla than before everything started in those 2 months or whatever, how many months it happened.
Yeah, it's called a growth spurt, Swan. He's 14.
He's 14, asshole.
Okay.
He's 14 to 15 years old. It's absolutely a growth spurt.
I guess.
But I get what you're saying. It's also the fact that they're all kids and they have crazy tattoos, crazy hairstyles, scars all over their faces, earring. Every single one of them has an earring.
Like, yeah, every single one of them at like 12 was like, I'm never gonna have a regular day job. Because I know that like tattoos and stuff are like a lot more like taboo in Japan. I was like, wow. Especially like Dracula. He got that shit on his
like tattoos alone, but let alone a face tattoo.
Yeah.
And
also,
Kazutora's got his on his neck, and he got his on his neck when he was like 10 or 11. Hanma has the two ones on his back, on the back of the hands.
Why are these tattoo artists tattooing children?
They're delinquent.
Where's the parent consent form? Man.
Yeah.
I think my favorite one, I love the Draken backstory where we actually had learned why he had the dragon tattoo. One, he wanted to be like a big delinquent and everything. I love his whole backstory, like living in the hostel. But at the same time, like, no, it was just like, oh, cool. Like Draken, like And like he has all this respect for every other person, and he doesn't matter if you're selling your body or if you're just like a person on the streets, like living with your family. He just respects you as a person. Like that's why he's probably my favorite character. He always takes people to heart, regardless of if you've been in the best situation, the worst situation. He will know what the correct words to say because he has been in the worst possible situation I think as any kid could be in. Like your parents are dead and you're living in a hostel, and like the hostel ladies are taking care of you, and you're just trying to be a kid. Yeah. But I think my favorite moments was probably in season 1. Because who was the one that knocked on the bathroom door? Was it not Kisaki that looked at him and was like, oh.
Yeah, that was Hanma.
Hanma? When Hanma looked at him and was like, oh, you're not in the car. And just walks away. And he's like, what do you mean not in the car? And then
took off.
Tamagichi, he's like, everything clicks. And then he saw the person. And then he sees Sendo hit the car. And he's like, oh, like, stay away from Kasuki. Like he's bad news. Like, and it's like that's after he went and saw the barber shop with Kamo in there, Sendo in there, and I thought it was a great ending to the first season. As that, because we knew he was going to go back. We knew Tamagichi was going to go back and see what he has to fix. But man,
yeah. The last thing I'll say in terms of especially like how it ended, when you know that Kisaki has been like when you go to the future and in the past that Kisaki is manipulative and is pulling strings from the shadows and is just a bad dude, period. When you go to the future and he invites you to a room separately after you just heard someone say, after you just learned and heard around the other gang members that like when he walked in the room, everyone bowed to him. Everyone was bullshitting each other, talking bad to each other. But when Kisaki walked in, everyone stood up and did a full formal bow. Welcome, sir. So you know he's top shit. And he calls you to a room by yourself and you just heard everyone talking about someone is the Judas of the group, yada, yada, yada. You know right then and there, you cannot trust this man. But you still he offers you a drink and you take the drink and you don't make sure that he drinks the drink. When I watched him pour those glasses, I was like, don't drink that. Don't drink that.
Yeah. Immediately thought one of those.
No,
those are
wait until he drinks.
Make
make sure he swallows first before you actually swallow.
Yes.
Especially after he literally confesses to doing all the things that you said he did.
Lie to your face. Like, one, Tamagichi knows this lie that he saw in him, but he's like, maybe he's not such a bad guy. Maybe not.
I think they took the sip before that happened. I think they took the sip and then he started going in terms of being like, I'm sorry about this, sorry about that.
No, he apologized before they.
He apologized and then they drank. Well, then there's a manipulation part. I'm sorry, let's drink to this. And then again, instead of watching him take the first drink or ensuring that he drank something, or if he's offering you this, be like, actually, I want this instead. Because I know Takemichi at one point did say beer, but it was after he already took one sip of the liquor. So I wouldn't have drank that liquor at all. I'd have been like, I want something different. Give me something different. But to drink that without watching him drink it, because then when it panned out, you saw that when they both drank it, Kisaki's glass never moved. Yeah. He kept his glass right where it was.
He did Prince Bride. He put it back in the water. He just never put his.
And then I was like, And then that's when he turned around and was like, just kidding. I did this stuff and I'm glad I did this stuff and I'm happy they died. And then Takemichi, why am I getting dizzy? And I'm like, because you got fucking drugged, bitch. Like you know not to trust this man. Where have you been? You never drink the drink before the person tells you. Like you watch everyone else drink the drink before you take a sip.
Even that, like just fake it.
Yep.
Like I immediately am going to be hesitant, so I'm going to be like, put it up to my lips. Nothing's ever going to enter my mouth.
Until I see your glass goes down a little bit more. I don't want to see it go up. If I see it go up, I know you just batting it, and you also.
Yeah, and you make sure you fake it good. You get it to your lips, so you don't actually drink it, and then you put it down and then you go, that's strong. What is this? This is a little strong. And you fake that shit as best as you can. That's strong. That's strong. What I'm used to. Strong. That's my last thing about the intro. Until until we read the manga or season 2 comes out and we have a season 2 discussion. But yeah, they're idiots and they get what came to them.
Lots of plot holes, but a great fucking story.
And who's your guys' favorite character? By the way, just to get this in the discussion.
We did that.
Yeah, I know. Tawan said Baji.
Baji, then Draken.
And you said Draken.
I'm Draken.
And Mikey.
Yeah, Draken, Mikey for me. And what about you, Dom? I think we got R2, so I don't think we got yours.
I don't know if I have one. It's so hard. Like Draken, it's like partially Draken because he is the strong character, but with a sensible mind. While Mikey's just too much of a beast. Like Mikey's too much of a I'm here to just fuck shit up and doesn't think about the consequences of his actions. But at the same time, like I really like Baji because of just like how badass he is. Mm-hmm. And I also really like Mitsuya because Mitsuya just seems also really cool, calm, and collected, but a guy that can fight. So it's really difficult. I guess I can't say Baji because he's dead now.
I mean, you still can.
I like Baji when it comes to. I like Baji when it comes. I like Baji when it comes to fighting and like what he does to help fight. So it's either Mitsuya or Draken. I'm not sure I can really say I can split between the two. So I'm like a tie between them two. I really like both of them.
Yeah, solid.
Solid picks.
My favorite character is Hina.
Oh, wait, can I talk about one more moment that was really great?
Yeah,
absolutely. Was when they were first coming in where they were doing like the fight club and Draken kicked old dude in the stomach who's like, you're not bowing low enough. That show's badass.
All I thought about when that happened was a little bit of spoiler for the Jujutsu Kaisen people, but when Sukuna came back, well, he not came back, he's not fully back or anything like that, y'all. But when Sukuna was there, when like Itadori didn't have control of Sukuna for a little bit, and Jogo was right there, and Jogo like kneeled, and like Sukuna told them like to bow or kneel or whatever, and the girls like fully faced the ground while Jogo just took a knee, and Sukuna took the top of Jogo's head off, and he was like, "Do you think a knee is low enough for me? Like head to the earth, bitch." Like that's all I thought when that happened. I was like, head to the earth.
I forgot about that part.
That was a badass moment. I really did.
That was after he fed him the 10 fingers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Shibuya, if anybody, sorry for spoiling for some part in the Shibuya in the saga for Jujutsu Kaisen, which I can't wait for that. The animated.
It's coming back soon, isn't it? Is it this season or next?
That one should come back before the Tokyo Revengers season 2.
It's probably a spring 2021. It's not a winter 2020. Sorry, spring 2022. It's not a winter anime.
Okay.
Hopefully in due time.
All right.
A great episode, great discussion, guys. Yeah. Tokyo Revengers. Excuse me. Tokyo Revengers, one of the greats right now. Everyone's enjoying it. Everyone's watching it. Everyone's got these lovely opinions. And there's just more to come. Read the manga. For those of you who are, anime onlys, I hope you all have watched it so far, or if not, or about to watch it, and we'll be able.
If you're listening to this podcast right now and haven't watched it, then you guys put on a bunch of stuff. But at the same time,
you did get spoiled on a bunch, but it's worth going and watching. Also, if you've clicked on this and you haven't watched it, interesting.
Interesting life choice there.
Yeah, interesting life choices. If you are manga readers, start reading it if you haven't already. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are on any and all of this. We can't wait to talk more about it. We're loving these new animes that are coming out. Lots of discussions coming up. Be prepared for more. We're going to have a season 2 once that comes out. Be on the lookout for an Attack on Titan conversation coming from us as well, especially with season 2 of that coming out in December. Or sorry, the final half of the final season coming out in December. We'll be fully done with Tokyo Revengers, with Attack on Titan, so we'll be discussing that as well. There's lots of things coming up. Between now and then, tell us what you would love to hear us talk about. Follow us on our social media. We are the Anime Feast on Instagram, Anime Feast on Twitter, and on YouTube. Write us, tell us what you like, what you dislike, things you want us to talk about.
Tell us how much you guys also hate Sasaki, also, or Kisaki. Give us your opinions on Kisaki and.
shows you want us to watch. Things you're watching. We also like to know what you guys are into. And I think that finishes it.
Yeah. So with that being said, we hope you all enjoyed the meal.
And as always, stay hungry, my friends.
Peace.
Peace.